Welcome back to Views with Hughes, your agenda-free news. I'm Jerome Hughes, your host and founder of the channel. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification for uploads and new update alerts so that way you won't miss out on any of the content. All right, so let's go ahead and get right into it. Warner Brothers Discovery faces its first post-honeymoon earnings as layoffs and streaming decisions loom. What exactly does this mean for the streaming platform for HBO Max and Discovery Plus? And what does this mean for DC Comics? All right. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Now, I'm not going to read the whole article because of the length of it, as well as the fact that the much juicier stuff is towards the end. Okay, so now we see that Warner Brothers Discovery under David Zaslav is about to report its Q2 earnings this Thursday. All right. So it's also expected that there's going to be more layoffs, as we all have heard, and we've seen first from top executives of the company being laid off, including the CEO and Sarnoff and others. Okay. Some even, resigned. All right. And also the head of DC, his power has been, stripped from him a bit. And I think he still plays a role there, but it's not as major as it was before. All right. So HBO Max, which is positioned itself top tier streamer after 2 years of operations, found itself at the center of all sorts of wild speculation for the past couple of months. All right. So in other words, it's talking about is it going to be shutting down and going to Discovery Plus, or will it all merge together? Okay. And also the streamer and the company itself is put a pause on, scripted content and unscripted content alike. And they did this right around the time where they're expecting to release the prequel to Game of Thrones, House of Dragon. Okay. So moving along, with the last division reports on layoff targets reportedly due this past Friday, the trigger could be pulled at any moment. Mid-August has recently been rumored, but now it's chatted that it's going to come into the first week, and after the first wave, the second wave is going to be in September. Okay, but they expected to complete all of this by the time of the holidays, whether it be Thanksgiving or even Christmas. All right. Now, it's already made its cuts to the sales division, which was led by John Steinloff with around 1,000 miles or 30% of, not miles, 1,000 roles or 30% of that workforce is axed, and sales remains the primary target of cuts, with marketing, distribution, and engineering also rumored to be among the areas impacted the most as the company looks to eliminate redundancy. So in other words, if you haven't done anything to put the content out there to help the company make more money, you're gone. All right, you're not needed anymore. And crazy part about it, it's also showed that word is that the division leaders aren't even given a head count to hit. So in other words, it could be anybody at any number. All right. But people are also saying that unlike the Warner Media cuts following the acquisition of AT&T, Warner Brothers Discovery has not implemented any voluntary buyouts as a way of reducing workforce, and layoffs are expected to be largely performance-based. Okay, so like I said, and I've reported this before, they're going to lay people off if they can't help the company make money. All right. In order for the company to make money, the people have to enjoy that content. If the people don't enjoy that content, that company's going to lose money. And if the company loses money, people lose their jobs. I mean, it's that simple. Okay, and I'm surely hoping that Disney is also paying attention to what's happening in Warner Brothers too, because guess what? The same thing can happen with them. They've been all the stuff that's happening with Disney right now has been planning for years and years and years before under Bob Iger, as we know. But now we're seeing with that plan how much money the company is losing and stuff. The fact that the movies aren't making back the money that they spent to create it and to promote it and market it. They're not going to get that money back in return. Okay, so going to stick with WBD. Now, there's also a major restructuring at Warner Media, which was the defining moment at of AT&T's troubled stewardship of the company. So the long-time silos between divisions were removed and a large roster of seasoned executives walked out the door. So in other words, people have been laid off and executives have resigned and quit. Okay. So this pattern is also familiar to those who also work with Zaslav during his 15-year run overseeing Discovery. So basically what he did at Discovery is he's also doing with Warner Brothers. Okay. So that's how he does. Okay. So the long-term cuts is also going to appease those who are also investors who were skeptical about the future of Warner Brothers itself, or Warner Brothers Discovery now. And this is making them a little more hopeful. Okay. Now, it says here, times have been tough for most stocks lately, but the decline is steeper than that of shares in Disney, Comcast, and Paramount in that same time span. So in other words, Warner Brothers might be able to make it out better than the others, such as Paramount, Disney, and so on. Okay, so Turner Networks will the first major target have already seen a slew of changes, including the departure of Brian Weitz, the general manager of TNT, TBS, and True TV, the SVP original programming, Adrian O'Reilly, and unscripted chief Corey Henson. Okay, so these are the changes of people who are heading those networks and stuff. And then there was also on the unscripted front, where there's been constant rumors that the company will make sizable cuts to HBO Max's alternative team led by Jennifer O'Connell, who also runs the live action kinds of family programming. All right, going through here. Here's an interesting one. I've talked about this before. There was also a high-profile scrapping of J.J. Abrams' HBO series Demimandi. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but oh well, it's J.J. Abrams, don't care. Last month raised the question of how the merged business will deal with an A-list talent. All right, so the problem is they spent a lot of money. They paid him a lot of money to go ahead and make this show Demimandi for HBO. The problem is that he never got to it. All right. Under that last leadership, he never got to it. And they just, willy-nilly let him go and do his own merry thing. This dude went on to Disney to make different projects. He also made a comic book issue or proposed comic book issue with Marvel. Okay. And he went on ahead, took that money, signed a contract, ran off, and went ahead and did projects with the competition. Okay. And the only source to blame for this is Warner Media. All right, Warner Brothers didn't even lock down that exclusivity with him. They just willingly didn't include in the contract that he's supposed to go ahead and start in this project immediately. All right, or on a given date. Says the Lost co-creator and his Bad Robot signed a mega 5-year overall deal for film and television with the studio in 2019 in a competitive situation. The WBD, or Warner Brothers Discovery, top executives has been scrutinizing Bad Robot's output so far, and there's a feeling the relationship may have been mismanaged. A feeling that it's been mismanaged. The dude signed a contract y'all didn't lock down, and he went off with the competition to make content, movies, comic books. So, and you mean to tell me that it's been mismanaged? No, it's worse than that. But the new company leadership keen to get some projects moving through the packs, and that includes shows in the works at HBO Max, which are believed to be moving along despite rumors over the past week to the contrary. But overall, HBO Max and HBO will likely remain business as usual. Now, David Zaslav, he's always been an admirer of what HBO Max chief content officer Blois and his team have achieved, okay? And Zaslav is also front and center at this week's glitzy premiere of HBO's House of Dragon, which is expected to be one of the biggest ever and possibly the biggest marketing campaign for an HBO Max series. Now, there's a lot of people out there who will not and refuse to watch this upcoming show because of the fact that recently the creators, they actually put out there doubling down on why they have diverse characters, okay? And a lot of people are not liking that. And guess what? I'm not one of them, because Martin, the author of the himself, he's just a lost cause to me. Okay, but moving along, sports is also expected to be continuing to focus of the turning networks. Okay, where we see NBA, NHL, and so on, and Major League Baseball. All right, go Yankees. Even March Madness baseball as champions for the networks. Okay. So currently the company pays about $1.2 billion a year for NBA games, and that deal is up at the end of 2024-25 season, adding another big decision to the new company's growing list. So will they continue with the contract or renew a contract for NBA if they make paying that much money to air those games on their stations for a year? The season might be going to other companies if not Warner, on Time Warner or the Turner Networks. I mean, now let's go ahead. Proper management of the big franchises is the top priority, with the finding a DC chief who can revitalize the comic book universe the way Kevin Feige has done with Marvel of utmost importance. So in other words, he wants somebody there to do what Kevin Feige did, but not do the very things, well, hopefully not do the very things that Kevin Feige do. What I mean by that is I hope that he will find somebody that would not take the current culture that is like modern day politics and put it within the comics and the films that DC has as well. That's because that's something that we hope that he sees that we don't want. Okay, and it also includes like some chatter with the new Harry Potter extensions, including a TV series, and Zaslav is understood to have recently met with creator J.K. Rowling. So this is also a reason why J.K. Rowling is not canceled. This is also a reason why she's still in the loop. This is the reason why she's still popular. This is the reason why she won't be canceled, because of the simple fact that she still has people interested in her work, as well as taking her content and making more of it into live action series. Now, we don't care about what the actors and actresses from the Harry Potter movies are saying about it. If they're against it, so be it. But if it wasn't for her, they wouldn't have a prominent careers that they have right now. All right, film strategy will likely remain focused on theatrical. So in other words, no more having movies that's slated to be released in theaters at the same time with the movies on HBO Max. The new films that are on HBO Max are going to not going to be, the new films that are from Warner Brothers that are released in theaters are not going to be on HBO Max until after they're out of theaters. Okay, so as you all remember, like later on through the pandemic, the new movies that were premiered in theaters from Warner Brothers have been on HBO Max also. There's no more of that. Okay. So now we see that he's talking about the bringing Alan Horn to the picture, where he's going to help consult a future strategy. Now, how long will that strategy take? Don't know. It might be long term. We just got to be patient with it, okay? But I know one thing. I'm hoping that strategy is a lot better than what Disney and Marvel Studios has put out there. Okay? He also hired former MGM chiefs Michael DeLuca and Pam Abdi, who recently took over a large position of the portfolio previously overseen by Toby Emmerich. So they're his replacements. All right. Now, as it says here, as he immerses himself into areas which he has no hands-on experience, which is why he hired Alan Horn, like movies and scripted TV, Zaslav has relied on counsel of industry veterans, Alan Horn and Pamela Abdi and Michael DeLuca. Okay. In addition to bringing Horn on board, he also reportedly sought advice from a number of other former top executives, including Peter Roth, who led the Warner Brothers television group for many years. All right. So We're going to see what they have implemented, what they're going to have to bring to the table. All right. So if you enjoy what was shared here today, please go ahead and drop a like on that on this video. And also, if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to the channel, share this video to get this out there on all social media networks, and click the bell notification so that way you'll be alerted for new and future updates. Until then, peace.